All right, race fans, we are back. First of all, let's start with this. Thanksgiving week is here. Us fat kids love Thanksgiving because we love all the food and the fixins and the pies and everything that goes with it. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Not sure if you're listening to this on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's Tuesday night. Want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're able to enjoy the weekend with the people you care about. So episode number 286. Speaking of people we care about, Changa, Bert. Bert is out of the hospital, was over at his buddy's house for a few days. He's on the mend. He's back home. He's going to be out of commission for a little bit. Bert said he's going to take a few weeks off here. He wants to get back to fighting weight and everything, and we'll probably see him. I would assume Bert will be back right at the beginning of the year when we get back into like the Wild West shootout, the Chili Bowl, stuff like that. So super glad to hear Bert's surgery went well. Recovery is going well. He's back home, and triple bypass surgery, it's never a fun deal. It's never for sure, but good to have him back. But I think we should start with this. I saw on Facebook here today, Bob Hudson, Kelly Laker up there in northern Minnesota, part of the Hibbing Raceway family, lost his battle with I think he had the same thing Bruce Willis had, that frontal lobe dementia, I think is what it was. He's been kind of battling with that for quite a while now, and he succumbed to that here over the past week. And Bob, heavily involved with racing. He raced a little bit. His kid raced, and he actually had a company called Checkered Flag Race Car Bodies way back, Changa, 1994. I was looking through all my pictures, and I'm like, Bob Hudson built a body for me. Now, if I would have had him on payroll and been like, you know what, I just need you to build all my bodies that year, he wouldn't have needed it. Yeah, he wouldn't have needed to do anybody else's, because I wrecked a lot of shit that year. I had the red car. It was terrible. It was like my worst year. But I'm sure he's probably pretty thankful that he didn't have to babysit my tin work for that year. But thoughts and prayers go out to, Bob's family, friends, everybody up there in Hibbing, Kelly Lake area. So
did the body work ever get better after 94? I mean,
oh, it did. Changa, you would have been shocked as much as we weren't afraid, or I wasn't afraid to kind of carve on people if I had to. In 1994, I was allergic. I was like Kraus. I think maybe it was because the red and white combination. Like Kraus is really good at starting off a race, and then he'd just kind of be like, I don't want to. There's no sense finishing it. I don't need to make all the laps. Tire wear is a lot better if you only make half the laps, and I really tried that out in 1994. So we tore up lots of stuff. It was a horrendous season. So yeah, we don't need to relive that year. That's for sure. You want to know a kind of a cool thing that happened this past week? I got a phone call from Mike Gross over at Tri-State Late Model Series, right? A donkey award was given out at a banquet. Right? We get a little grief. I've gotten a little grief, like, oh, you're giving out these donkey awards. You're mean to people. You're hurting people's feelings. Well, sometimes they're necessary, right? And, I think back, Changa, to all the banquets we did up at the Proctor Speedway, is you take Gus Omenson, a guy that is kind of dry, right? He's not loud, not confrontational, but God, the guy was funny. He was always willing to have some gag gifts and kind of jack people around, including me, right? And wow. And they said, hey, we're going to give out a donkey award. He brought it up to Trevor, right? Dirt Track Supply, Trevor Anderson, second in Tri-State points. He says, what do you think we give a try? He goes, I got the guy. Series champion J.T. Wasmond. All he had to do was finish a couple spots behind Trevor on the final night of the year at Park Jefferson. And he was, I don't know how many laps were left, 5, 7. What are you watching there?
All kinds of stuff.
I was going to say, you're kind of pulling a Bert on me. You're like looking for the people watching on
YouTube. I was trying to get the volume turned down so it didn't.
his ADHD kicking in here, and it's really messing with me.
USNDTP against some Canadian hockey team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nobody cares. So anyway, JT Wasman only had to finish a handful of points or a handful of spots behind Trevor. He got to him there in the closing laps. I think maybe 5, 8 laps to go. I'm not sure how many. Apparently, he threw a slider that didn't work and KO'd him and ran them both up the track, and they both spin out. He gets himself put to the back, dang near cost him a championship, and he edged up just far enough at the finish. I think he beat Trevor by 5 points. So kind of cool, giving out a donkey award. That's the first time I ever heard of somebody giving out a donkey award at a banquet. Shout out Tri-State Late Model Series for that one, and Mike and Trevor and everybody involved. Um, there is a little bit of breaking news here that happened though just before the show. Kind of happened earlier today. You heard a little bit about it on Dirt Tracker podcast.
Yeah.
Shout out Justin Fiedler. Job well done. He has a daily show. If you probably worth checking that out if you're especially if you're a dirt late model guy. What's going on? What's the breaking news? Dirt late model world, Changa.
Well, it sounds like that Longhorn house car, the team owned by Riggs Motorsports, driven by Brandon Overton, sounds like is no longer the Longhorn house car. Brandon Overton, Riggs Motorsports, still staying together. Apparently split on good terms, but they're going their own way. Not sure exactly what happened there. Crew member, and it was crew chief Anthony Burrows. Apparently, he's going back with Ricky Thornton Jr. and bringing along that. I think it's Nick Tharp. He's the other car chief guy. I think that's them two are kind of joined at the hip, but apparently they're both going back to RTJ's crew. And then it sounds like Overton's got like one crew guy right now, so he's probably looking for some people. But yeah, I don't know. I guess the question, and you can answer it like Bert if you want, but will Longhorn even do a house car this year? I mean, there ain't a whole lot of real big time established drivers to do it. So, what do you think?
Anything's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Anything is possible. So I would say this. They already got a house car, right? They already have one. They have the developmental car, right? The six ride, the Rumley ride. I mean, essentially that's like a house car. And here's the crazy thing. Everybody who got in the seat of the six, massively successful, competed for wins, won races, up front. They were fast. The Longhorn Factory Team 76 was the most irrelevant car in dirt late model racing that had a prominent driver behind the wheel. And I think that is a very fair assessment of that. If you take the top, say, 20 drivers over the last 5, 6 years of dirt late model racing, without question, Brandon Overton is on that list of 20. If you take that list of 20 drivers and look at how they performed in 2025, he might be 20th. He could be dead last on that list. He was absolutely terrible. So the question is this. Was it the lack of success, the lack of drive, the lack of competing for wins that ultimately ended this relationship? Or was it something else? Was it perhaps the tirade that he had after essentially driving into the back of Bobby Pierce after Bobby kind of chopped him, but he drove into the back of him, and then he got out and made a fool out of everybody, threw his helmet at him on the racetrack, and looked like a clown in doing so? Could that have possibly played a part in them deciding, you know what, enough's enough. We're not winning. There's no benefit to the team for you to be doing this anymore. We already have the market cornered. There's no need to have a house car. All the relevant fast guys, except maybe one, are in a Longhorn. So it's not like they need to sell more cars. Was that the straw that broke the camel's back? And they said, you know what? Let's just, on good terms. And they might not even have brought that up. They might not have came and said, look, you acting this way is ultimately it. But behind the scenes, do you think Steve Arpin, whoever makes decisions with them, I know Paul Leach, owner, right? Do you think they said, really not necessary, right? Because ultimately this is going to look bad at us. Bobby Pierce is probably the most dominant late model driver in dirt late model racing, right? And if our house car drivers having temper tantrum fits and throwing helmets at them and causing a stink, well, that's going to reflect on Longhorn, and maybe Bobby decides if something else gets fast, he'll go a different direction. So that could have had something to do with that as well. What do you think?
Well, I guess my initial thought was is The kid from out there in Montana, the Leach kid. Um, is he an
Michael.
yeah, Michael, is he an option? Yeah, no, I've got phone calls coming in. I thought I put on the do not disturb, but my wife's called me 16 times here. Maya, call your mom. I just got off call. Okay, call her, tell her I'm doing the podcast. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'll teach you a different way to do not disturb. In fact,
I
here,
think I just didn't hit it good enough or something.
okay, I was gonna
I
say
never get phone calls.
the thing is, if somebody calls back more than once, if they keep calling back, it'll ring in. I love my mom to death, but she'll do that. She'll call, and then it won't go through. And then if she calls two, three, four times, every time it'll ring. It just happens. So there is a way on the settings to change that. Not a big deal. Yeah.
So, long story short, where I was going, could you see it? Is Michael Leach at that stage where maybe not necessarily being super ultra competitive, but could you see him following a touring series?
Oh boy. Boy, that's a good question.
You
I
know, under
don't
the
know.
Longhorn team name, you know?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately he has a house car, right? Because his family owns, you know, Longhorn. So I mean, that's technically it. Um, anything is possible, right? That's what Bert would say.
Oh,
I would say in all reality, he'll start out the year at Speed Weeks, racing all the shows down there. And if things work out and he's fairly competitive, possibly, but I don't know. I guess I personally don't know what his role is at Longhorn. Is he somebody that's pretty hands on? Is he helping in the fabs? I don't know. I really honestly don't know that. Um, so he did move down there to be
and he
more
lives in the
central.
parking lot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's down there for a specific reason. That's the hub of racing in the country, right? That's where he's at. So, I
You
would
know,
say at some point I could see Michael Leach transitioning in to running a national series. I don't think he's ready yet. I'd really like to see him. I mean, he's shown some signs of speed. He has had some laps, qualified well, had some heats. I think he did have some moments, but I think a guy like him probably would be better served to maybe run some regional type stuff, like a Hell Tour deal or something like that, and kind of spot, kind of fill in the schedule with spot races. But I don't know. I don't think that had anything to do with parting ways with Overton, though. I don't think that.
I got another question for you while we're on the topic. So, what does Brandon Overton do next year? Does he run Lucas? Does he run Woo? Or does he go kind of back to his old pick and choose ways?
Well, got to be honest, right? When he did the pick and choose ways, he was coming off a banner year and was arguably a top two or three guy in the country, right? He was like really good. He's not there right now, so if he does that pick and choose, could he have a situation where, say, like Bronson tried that, didn't make the feature, had no provisionals to fall back on? Pretty soon you're out of money. I don't know if he's out of money, but you're funneling money out like it's crazy. Um, right now, the way he performed in 2025, I would have to think. And there's my phone ringing, and it is my mom. Ha ha! Funny, funny how that works. Um,
Right?
um, I would have to say that he would be best served being on a series just so he has them provisionals to fall back on because his performance has not been as such to where he can. I don't think he can live without him. I just don't. I don't know that he's gonna. I think he'd be putting himself in danger zone of not making a lot of shows by not having provisionals the way that he raced. Now, traditionally, he qualifies pretty well. He runs, usually makes it in. It's more of
Yeah,
the
that was
features. It's more of the features he's fallen back. Um, Overton's a wild card, right? He's a guy that traditionally is kind of, flip a coin on what he's going to do. I guess maybe it'll all depend how it starts out at Speed Weeks, and then he'll make a decision in March when the season really starts.
and that decision has to happen fairly quick down there with a couple races overlapping if weather cooperates that way.
I would have to think that Brandon Overton, if he's going to follow series, it'd more than likely be Lucas. I don't see him rolling into the World of Outlaws, but I guess stranger things have happened. I mean, maybe he needs a change of scenery right now because, let's face it. I mean, if he ran on the World of Outlaws series, I believe that he would be a for sure a top five guy,
I
right? I
agree.
mean, and on the Lucas series, which I think is just a deeper talent pool, he's kind of on the outside looking in. And then, of course, once they're mixed together, he's really a 10th to 12th place guy typically. So it'll be interesting to see. What do you think he should do? If
Well,
if you're if you're Riggs, if you're the owner, what is your recommendation?
well, I don't know. I think just where he's from, where their team's based out of. I think the Lucas thing makes more sense because they just run more down that way. you know.
Right.
But I think he'd be a great addition to the World of Outlaws. They could use at least another big name on their, on their roster, and like you said, he's kind of consistent. I mean, typically he's not a guy that tears up a bunch of stuff. I guess if Gustin can get third in the points, why couldn't he get third in the points? I mean, he could 10th place you to death if nothing else.
Right. Right. I think that I would definitely put Pierce and Hoffman ahead of him. I'd give them the nod for 1, 2. I think he could definitely compete with Gustin, Shirley,
BMAC,
Dennis Erb Jr., T Mac. I think he'd be in that mix. I think if you look at that, I mean, Gustin was super hot and cold. T Mac second half of the year kind of came on. Shirley's hot and cold. Yeah, I mean, if I were him looking for a change of pace, change of scenery, I'd probably be leaning towards that. But
well,
I guess we'll find out. We'll
and then
find out.
will the 97 go back full time late model racing next year?
I don't think so. He's kind of made it known that where he lives down in Louisiana down there, locking yourself onto a tour is just logistically it's a very challenging deal for a family guy. Sells a lot of modifieds, success in the modified realm. I don't see him marrying himself to a national tour. I just don't see it. So how about this? How about a shout out here? Impact Health Sharing. That time of year, people kind of taking a look at what are you doing for health insurance? What are you doing if you're a single person, family, small business, right? Maybe you have a handful of employees, whatever it may be. Are you thinking to yourself, man, I am just burnt out on the fact that premiums across the board, across the country on traditional health insurance have skyrocketed. I mean, it's out of control, right? And you look at that and you're like, what can I do to fix that? How can I save some money? Well, I have a product called Impact Health Sharing that might be a really good fit for you. So, what are the qualifications? You need to be in good health. If you got pre-existing conditions in the last 36 months, diabetes, something like that, not going to be a good fit for you. Okay. But if you have a pretty clean bill of health, man, I tell you what, we're looking at 50% or better savings on what you're currently paying with traditional healthcare costs. Families coming in around $650 a month, very affordable deductibles. It's worth making a phone call, texting me, calling me, hit me up on Facebook to at least get a quick, no obligation quote. I can shoot you over some information. My number, 218-969-1380. That's Impact Health Sharing. All right, let's take a deep dive. Let's talk WISSOTA racing here, okay? Let's jump into some WISSOTA stuff. So the rules, they put an email out with a whole bunch of rule changes out. The drivers got them. Never really hit social media except for drivers that maybe shared it on there. There were a few mistakes on there that they need to clarify, a couple mistypes, couple. I mean, so don't take as what you see in there as gospel. There's going to be a meeting to kind of solidify that. There's a lot of body rules on there, Changa, that are basically like the committee's still working on this. The committee's still working. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, people are building race cars already for next year. I mean, let's back it up a second. Did you know they still haven't chosen the person to be the head tech inspector for WISSOTA? Yeah, that's still, how is that a thing, right? I don't understand, right? So The reason is because, and everybody's gonna be back on the Aho hates Wasota. No, I like Wasota. I think it's ran like a monkey fucking a football, right? But I do like the concept of Wasota, and I want to see it good. But it's a rudderless ship with too many people steering. It's crazy, right? I mean, every sanctioning body has its faults, all of them. IMCA, World Racing Group, Dirt Car, all of them. They all have things that we could look and be like, boy, that's stupid. All of them. It don't Nobody's immune to that, right? But the one thing Wasota has going against it that nobody else does is there's way too many people in the decision making process. That can't happen. That's not a thing. That don't work. And the people involved with Wasota, they know that doesn't work. That can't be a thing. And I get it. There's a handful of promoters out there. Well, we should get a say. You do get a say. It's called when you vote in the board. That's your say. You don't like the decisions they're making, vote in a different board. I don't know what to tell you. Or you run for the board. I don't know, right? But the fact is, you can't have 50 freaking promoters, right, trying to make decisions for the whole. That can't be a thing. That that'd be like city council of Superior, Wisconsin, Changa. You all vote in city council members. Every city does, right? Now imagine if everybody from the city showed up on town square every time there was a decision to be made, and they're like, "All right, all in favor," and like everybody's raising their hand. No, you vote in the city council to make the decisions. You don't vote in the board and then be like, well, we all want to have no, no, no. You voted in a board, let them make the decisions. Now, yeah, that can be dangerous if you vote the wrong people onto the board. I get it, right? Well, don't vote the wrong people onto the board. Get some qualified people on there. And now, with that said, 7 people shouldn't be making simple decisions, right? It should be, you look at IMCA, Dirt Car, they have somebody that ultimately they make the decisions on what's going to happen. The more people you have in a decision making process in anything, it's a shit show. Changa, you got a family. Imagine this. You're driving on the road, right? You're in town. Hey, where do you want to go eat? And this happens. This is a real thing. Where do you want to go eat? You ask that question with a car full of people, and you're going to get, well, I don't know. I want to go here. Well, I don't want to go there. Well, I want to go here. We should go there. I don't want pizza. I want tacos. I don't want tacos. I want and next thing you know, it's a freaking like it's a disaster. It's like, holy shit, I should never have asked that question. Hey, we're gonna go here to eat. Okay, somebody's got to make the decisions. This whole thing of 8,000 people trying to make the decisions is why nothing gets done. And that is why Wasota is where it is. It's regressing year after year after year, and that's exactly why. And it's 100% because the way the business model is structured is set up for failure. And the fact that they haven't made a decision on who the person is going to be the head of Wasota Teching and the tech committee and ultimately making the decisions, it's a travesty. So that's my soapbox talk right there. Okay. Now, here's some rules that came up. In the super stocks, Midwest mods, street stocks, pure stocks, and mod fours, 12-volt batteries only. Okay. Ultimately, I don't have an issue with that. Okay. However, I do have an issue that they're not phasing it in, right? Because there is a lot of people out there that run 16-volt batteries. That just is a thing. A lot of people have the 16-volt battery chargers. They have 16-volt batteries. Now what? You just throw them right in the garbage? Well, that's cool. You just cost everybody a bunch of money. And I get it. More people have 12-volt batteries than 16-volt batteries. But the people that have reached out to me said, why isn't there a phase-in period on this? Okay. Hey, in 2027, it's going to be 12-volt batteries only. That'd be cool. Phase it in over time. That was their thoughts. Ultimately, the rule itself, don't have an issue with it. I ran the red top Optima batteries. I had no issue in my super stock, modified or anything else with a 12-volt
I
battery.
don't know about everybody else, but there was never a year I didn't buy a new battery anyhow. But
Yeah, I did. I know a lot of people though. I mean, if you're only running 12, 15 shows a year, I mean, and you keep your battery in a place where it's not going to go bad over the winter or whatever. I mean, if you really use the battery 12 to 15 times, you don't need to buy a battery every 15 shows. I mean, so there is that. I mean, hell, I mean, we ran 90
if
some shows a year.
you smash into as many tires as you and Kraus do, though, I mean, them things are getting shocked. I mean, you just need to throw them away and start fresh every year.
Yeah, that's probably valid. That's a good point. That's a good point. Or like some people, you just leave them outside in the winter time and they explode.
Right.
It's probably not a good thing, right? Um,
Absolutely.
then another one they have is they're talking about the SKU rule on modifieds, super stocks, stuff like that, right?
Right.
So specifically on the first of all, on the late models, the verbiage says they're gonna basically whatever the national touring series is, World of Outlaw, Lucas Oil, the body rule is gonna be the same across the board. Well, that's what it should be, right? I mean, you're not going to buy a car from Longhorn and they're going to be like, well, do you want a Wasota body or do you want a Lucas Oil body? That's not a thing. You get a Longhorn or a Rocket or whatever, a body's a body.
Right.
100%. Modifieds, though, there's been a little debate. What are they going to do here, right? How are they going to do this? Well, USRA already has their stuff out. Changa, am I foolish in thinking that maybe they should just look at what USRA is doing and just follow suit since there's so many USRA tracks that are in the area and some drivers, especially with soda guys, kind of intertwine. Why not make them the same? And ultimately, they should be working together with USRA to really blend them rules together so that essentially they're the same rules packages. That should be what the long term goal is, and I believe that actually is a vision that some people on the tech committee have is to have the USRA and WSOTA rules so dang close that you only need to change tires. That would be fantastic. A
That would
modified is
be.
a modified is a modified. So what do you think? I mean, would that be the most common sense approach to just be like, all right, let's look at what USRA did for the bodies. Let's just do that. Keep it simple.
Right. I mean, I guess the only question I would have is like, how does the USRA and the IMCA body differ? Because there are some IMCA tracks buried right in the center of Wasota country,
Yeah, the difference is though IMCA modifieds are more
are not
competitive with
competitive,
no,
right?
they're more like a Wasota B mod. Um, so I think you trying to intermarriage anything with IMCA is not a thing because they're so much different that it doesn't make sense. I think USRA they're so close right now with USRA that makes a lot of sense. That they're actually very close. Um, Here's an interesting one for you, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but they went up by a pretty fair amount too. Protest fees went up pretty significantly across the board.
I did see that too, and I forgot to write it down.
Um, so their argument was it costs a lot of money to put these motors back together. You get tore down, you're ruled legal, and you're only going to get a couple $100 or $300. That might not be enough to even get the thing back together, right? And a lot of people bring it back to the engine builder. I get that argument. I mean, protests rarely happen, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, probably less than 10 a year throughout all of Wasota, and probably more in the pure stocks, Hornet classes than all the other ones. And sometimes it's more out of spite and arguments than actually protesting. Um, is this good or bad? I mean, I get it. If you're the person being protested, it's good, right? Because you're like, well, shit, a little bit more money here. I was legal, but do we really want to deter people from protesting? What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, I don't even know why they have a protest rule in a late model because I don't know if there's ever been one in the history of late models. Uh, um, I guess the price it may have gone up, but it went up like 100 or 200 bucks per class, right?
No, I think it's a
Right.
thousand. I think it's a
A
thousand
thousand
bucks.
in a late model and a mod or something.
Well, yeah, that's like
Yeah,
double. It was like 500,
yeah, and I think like super stocks are like 600, and I don't know,
something like that.
weren't they
Yeah,
like 400 before?
let's see if I can find it here.
Yeah.
It's
In this day and
it
age, as expensive as the engines are, and let's be honest, how many guys can take an engine apart and put it back together anymore? I mean, it's in our day we used to put them back together ourselves and race it the next day, but nowadays they all go back to the engine builder. So I mean, I don't have a
right.
problem with it.
All right. So the protest prices, late model and modified top end is 500 and complete is 1,000 now. Super stocks, Midwest mod, street stocks, mod fours, pure stocks, and Hornets. Top end 300, complete is 600.
Yeah, I feel
So
like that's too high for the Hornets and beer stocks.
I feel like that's double. I feel like that's about double. I thought it was 300 to do a full protest, and I
Yeah.
think that's double. And I get their argument. I mean, if you're the driver getting protested and your stuff's legal, and now it costs you a bunch of money to put your stuff back together, well, that's a pain in the ass, right? That's no good. You should at least the theory and the idea was always to give that person enough money to at least put their engine back together. Not to rebuild the engine, but whatever gaskets that you needed to replace to put the engine back together the way it was when you took it apart.
Right.
And prices have gone up on everything, so maybe the whole $300. I mean probably don't cover it. I mean I get it. But I don't know. I guess probably ultimately it won't really matter because, like you said, I mean nobody really tears anybody down so much
I
anymore
mean,
anyway.
it's $100 bill just to put oil in the things nowadays.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're not wrong. Um, but I mean, they dropped the oil out of it. They could strain it and put it back in if they'd only had one night on it. So I mean, not a huge deal, but I get their theory behind it. I see both sides of it. I don't know where I'd land. We'll see. I guess we'll see in 2026 if there is protests at all, or this might completely deter everybody from doing it. I don't know. Um, Couple hot topics here on the street stocks, Changa. So the first one, the transmission rule. So the hot topic, the big debate for a number of years has been we got to get rid of the automatic transmissions in the street stocks, get rid of them things. A lot of people are blowing them up, breaking them, all that, and just get to a racing transmission, Burt, Bryn, whatever it may be. Um, Finally, that rule passed. Okay. And they decided that they're going to implement that in 2027. Now, what they're going to do, and kind of the hot topic here, is in 2026, they're going to basically make it to where automatics, you can remove the torque converter, and there's little conversion, something you have to do to the transmission, $300-400 deal based on the people I talked to get that transitioned over, right? So, and let's face it, you take that rotating mass of what 30 pounds or 35 pounds, whatever it may be, you take that torque converter out, everybody's going to have to do that. If you want to compete, that's a must. If you
Mhm.
want to compete, you have to do that. Well, some of the drivers out there are saying, okay, I get their theory, but if you're going to do that, why not just do it? Why? Because now they're making everybody transition their stuff over in 2026 and spend that money to convert their automatics, get rid of the torque converter. They're making everybody spend that money, and then they're going to have to spend money again the next year to go to the BERT. Well, why not just eliminate the middleman and be like, screw it. We are 1000% going to just either A, go to Burt's and everything in 2026, or B, run it as you have it right now and just transition everything in 2027. Are they making a mistake by having this extra step in here that costs people money?
Well, it sure seems like it, right? And the other thing I'm thinking of going through my mind here as you're telling me this, it's like, all right, so you take this converter out of there, and I can't tell you exactly what it weighs, but I can guarantee you taking out of there. right? You're going to turn more RPMs. Now, do you have to buy different gears to run certain tracks? And we all know what the gears cost. I mean, so that brings up the great argument. Hey, should we just put quick changes in them? I mean, it's just a never-ending vicious cycle, right?
Well, you're exactly right because if you take that rotating mass out of there,
Mm-hmm.
that might constitute a gear change. That
Right. Oh, for sure.
you might have to go one set taller. I don't know that for sure, but you might if you're running a 633, you might need to go to a if you're running a 650, you might need to go to a 633. If
Sure.
you're running a 33, you might need to go to 20. Maybe. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if you are. But that's, that that's the people's biggest argument. And I know that like Roxbury put out, if you have a tranny and you're getting it serviced, he's gonna, I think, basically help everybody out and kind of do that conversion part for free, or if they're already getting their transmission rebuilt. Um, but not everybody gets their transmissions from him, right? I mean, there are other people that get transmissions from other places that are going to have to spend the money. Um, I think it's just I don't understand why they're doing it. It's like a knee jerk reaction. Maybe they got some grief because I mean, if you're in the automatic transmission business for racing, right? That's done effective in 2027. Sorry, you're not building any more transmissions for Wasota race cars. That is done. That's a done deal. Eventually everybody's going to switch to a Burt or a Bryn. They're just better. I mean, they're built for racing. So, yeah, I mean that's an interesting deal. I personally think they're making a mistake by adding that extra step in there and costing people money in between. But um, I think I kind of fall in with the masses on that. Another topic that came out, street stocks. They have this aftermarket frame, and I don't know if it's AFCO or I don't remember who built it. Maybe it's Speedway Motors.
Yeah, I believe that's what it was. Speedway.
Speedway, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was, yeah. Anyway, they have this aftermarket frame and it's kind of split 50-50, right? People are like, this is bullshit. I can't believe they're going to go to it. And oh my God, you're costing people more money with all this aftermarket stuff. And, now everybody's going to have it. And people are going to be cheating them up and all this. And then you look at the other side of it and they're like, people can cheat up stock frames. What are you talking? They've been doing it for 40 years. What are we talking about, right? We know that to be the case. Um, and then I talked to some people that build cars, and they're like, "This is the best thing that ever happened. This is unbelievable." Because if you want to build a street stock right now from scratch, you want to build a brand new car, you go to the junkyard. It's going to be $1,500 right now to go get a G body car from a junkyard. They don't give them away anymore. They're pretty scarce. So whatever the cost is, you got to go get one. You got to take it home. You got to strip it, right? Completely take it apart, hope it's straight, sandblast it, prep it. You got to do all this work to it, right? And at the end of the day, you got to rust it out 40-year-old, 50-year-old, whatever it is frame, right? They said this. They said, yes, the initial cost of buying that frame is more than buying a stock one, but the amount of man hours that you have into prepping one of these brand new aftermarket frames is like 25% of man hours that it takes to actually get one ready when you get a car from a junkyard that you have to strip, take everything apart, sandblast, do all that. So ultimately, it probably shouldn't impact the cost of frames all that much. And if people are like, well, my car doesn't have one of them. How am I going to compete? Well, that just tells me you don't know anything about racing because the frame's stock, right? It's stock locations, it's stock mounting points. It shouldn't be a performance enhancer. It should all it is because it's just easier for everybody to work with, and it just makes more sense where we're at right now to go that way. So I think they did the right thing, and I believe that pretty much every other sanctioning body out there that has stock cars, hobby stocks, that type of thing, I believe they everybody else already allows them. So I think they're like a year behind on this, and so I think this is going to ultimately be a good thing, and I think that they made a step in the right direction here.
Well, I mean, I can tell you back in the mid '90s when I was running a street stock, you couldn't find frames very often where the whole back half of the thing wasn't just completely rotted off, rusted out right at the rear firewall or over the rear axle. You'd have to cut them off and rebuild the rear of the frames on them anyways. And I mean, they were just it costs money to build that. You got to let someone else do that. I could buy the whole frame. You know, I see it. It's just, and here's the other thing: where are you going to find these cars anymore? They don't even exist. They're not around. I mean, Chris, these cars are from the late '70s and early '80s. I mean,
Right,
they're
right.
not around
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we're approaching 50-year-old cars, right?
Right.
I mean, it's you're exactly right. So I think they made the right decision here. Here's a big one in the Hornets. So what was the biggest drama over the last couple of years in the Hornets where that was just mind-boggling ridiculous?
Power steering issue.
The power steering issue. A couple last year they basically said we are not DQing people for that. Couple years back though, they went on a rampage. Oh, power steering belt fell off, DQ'd. Your power steering's not hooked up, DQ'd. Power steering's not on, DQ'd. Well, Wasota made a step in the direction and they said, look, this is stupid, right? What are we doing here? Power steering and alternators are optional on Hornets. Now, I talked to some people and they're like, well, most of the cars you have to run an alternator because of the computers, but apparently the Dodge Neons can get away with running without an alternator and it doesn't lose power like a Cobalt or whatever. So, but power steering and alternators are now optional. Tonga, I know people that literally, I know families of people that said, I'm done with it. My fund meter's pegged. I'm selling everything. If we're gonna start DQing people because of this, and now I gotta go find power steering and all that, I'm just out of principle. I'm not doing it. People sold their cars, and the Hornet community was pretty happy to see that they came to their senses as a tech committee and said, "Why are we bothering with this?" The initial idea was that the aftermarket camshafts that people were cheating up their cars with didn't have the bolt holes on the back for the power steering. And they were like, well, if they don't have the bolt holes on the back and they don't have the power steering hooked up, they're cheating, they're illegal. Well, you can check the cam, right? You don't need to just look at see if power steering's there. You can check the cam. So hats off to the tech committee for making the right decision on this one. Speaking of rule changes, Changa, 410 sprint cars. Um, Probably the biggest one. There's a few little ones, but the one big one. Did you happen to see kind of a little
Oh,
controversy?
I saw they went from the four mounting points on the fuel cell to six mandatory now, and
Yep.
and no tethers, or the tethers don't count, or however that's worded.
Yeah, correct. So traditionally, 410 sprint cars, world of outlaw, high limit, all of the above. Their fuel cells in the back of the car were mounted with four bolts. And let's face it, I mean, we see these things tumble all the time, and the fuel cells get dislodged and they're laying in the middle of the track or wherever they end up, right? And I mean, let's face it. I mean, having a there's two sides to this story, okay? So the tracks, the series, their concept was we do not want stuff flying off of race cars, right? People are up in the stands and they're watching races. The last thing they need to worry about is somebody's fuel cell flying over the fence and landing in their lap and starting their whole family on fire. That can't happen. The drivers on the flip side are like, when these things start tumbling and you bust a fuel line, bust a fuel cell, next thing you know, you got fuel pouring all over you and you're upside down and we engulf in flames. That's bullshit. We want the thing to dislodge. We don't want the fuel cell connected to the car when we tumble down the straightaway. We want that thing to break off and go somewhere. We don't want that fuel pouring all over us and starting us on fire. That's a racer's biggest fear. Boy, that's a slippery slope. I get it. Now, ultimately the fire safety equipment's on the track there to protect the driver. You don't really have fire safety equipment in the grandstands to protect the crowd or
I mean, that,
get
that would be my take. I mean, the driver's wearing flame retardant suit and gloves, and and obviously we don't want any race cars starting on fire. That's
no.
not where I'm going with this, but some of them have fire suppression systems in the cars. They have fire safety crews in the infield that are there to try to save these drivers in the case that happens. Well, nobody, the guys in the stands, they're sitting there wearing shorts and a tank top. They might be half drunk, not even paying attention if this thing's flying at them.
Might, might.
There's no fire extinguishers in the stands. You pour a beer on me, yeah, that ain't gonna work. So yeah, no.
No.
Ultimately, I think keeping them attached to the cars, and for insurance reasons as well. Keeping them attached to the car is by far the right answer.
Yeah, I agree. And they finally went to all the other sanctioning bodies, no more Zeus fasteners on wheel covers, and sprint cars finally went to that this year, ultimately trying to eliminate things from flying into the crowd. So that needs to happen. Speaking of sprint cars, big news in the Northland.
And just like Changa predicted a few weeks back when we were speculating on what could happen, is it the 5th of June? Is that the date on that? I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm
sis,
right on.
I thought it was yeah, fourth, fifth, sixth, somewhere in there. It
Yeah.
was that
So anyhow, the
Thursday,
night
right?
after Menominee on that to be announced date, ultimately it is going to Gondik Law Speedway. So that'll be neat right in my backyard here. I reached out to our statistician, Mr. Uper, to see if he was going to come up and spectate that. He's a big sprint car fan, right? And it's right in my backyard. So I was like, hey, are we gonna, make a date of this and go check out some sprint car racing? And apparently he said he don't watch racing in the stands no more. He just does it from his truck nowadays, and he don't have any interest in going to sprint car races no more. So
Pete will probably be there, and Carl and Keith. His whole family will, but
Keith
he'll
will be
watch it
there
on.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Keith will be there. But the race they had in Menominee last year, big success, big
that was a
crowd,
banger. Yeah.
fantastic finish, good race. Gondikla Speedway has put on some good racing. It's kind of turned into really the premier Wissota racetrack in the state of Wisconsin. And they have the best specials right now. And for them to be bringing in a marquee special, a national touring series, the high limits. And I mean, it's a weekday show, and I'm not going to guarantee anything, but there's a pretty good chance maybe they'll see Kyle Larson, right? For sure, we're going to see Rico. So
Yeah.
that's cool to be bringing these big names to the Twin Ports, bringing them to Superior, Wisconsin. Congrats to Joe Staria on putting that all together. Job well done. How about a shout out here? Fast Lane Motorsports and Powder Coating up in Ashland, Wisconsin. So if if you're racing in 2026, the time is now. You need to start getting that car ready, or at least start making plans to get your car ready. And why not get parts directly from somebody that puts so much into dirt track racing in the Northland? Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating, the number one sponsor of the Fastlane Superstock Series. They used to sponsor the 71A. They sponsor a ton of cars, ton of events. They sponsor a lot of racetracks, and above and beyond that, they are the parts vendor at these tracks. They do custom powder coating, sandblasting, fabricating, you name it, they do it. Anything racing that you need, if they don't have it, they can get it. If they can't get it, they can build it. And if they build it, they can make it look pretty with their powder coating. That's Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating in Ashland, Wisconsin. So there was a few races this past week, season coming down to the end, but the big one in dirt modified racing happened down in Volusia, down in De Leon Springs, Florida, down there, the big half mile. Did you get a chance to watch that one, Changa?
Yeah, I did watch that one, and Troutman was kind of the class of the field. Nobody really had anything for him. There was a good battle for second. Um, was Strickler and Dotson, right?
Yep.
They had a banger of a battle for second for a long time. Dotson ended up bringing her home second there in that race, and kind of, I would guess, amongst all of us who picked that race, we all probably had them three guys, right?
Right.
So,
So looking at this, Changa, so Drake Troutman, I mean, he's had some moments in the late model, really hit and miss, right? I mean, he'll have a few weeks where he's banging for leads and up on the podium, and then all of a sudden he's back in 15th, and he's just not super consistent. But to the best of my knowledge, looking at my race pass from this year, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine races. Wait, yeah, nine races in the modified. Nine. Well, the worst he did was that 13th he got at Charlotte, where he went from 20th to first at the World Short
oh
Track
yeah, yeah.
Championships.
Cut the tire down. Yeah,
Yeah, he was going to win that,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
He was going to win that. Other than that, he got second at Spoon River, third at Farmer City, and 6 wins, including the Ruderman, including the 100 grand to win race at Mississippi Thunder, right? The World Modified Championships or whatever they call the Mississippi Thunder. I'm telling you right now, when Drake Troutman straps into that modified, you
The
better look
bad
out.
man.
He is a bad man. There is no doubt about it. So congrats to Drake Troutman. USAC sprint cars were at they're kind of making their West Coast swing here to close off the 2025 season. They're out in California. Of course, tonight it's Tuesday night, the Jason Leffler Classic at Bakersfield, and then Saturday is going to be the 84th running of the Turkey Night Grand Prix at Ventura. But last week they had a doubleheader out at Merced, California. Did you get a chance to watch either of those?
I did watch bits and pieces of both of them, and you'll have to excuse me. I didn't even write down the results. I think McIntosh won the first night, right?
He did. He did.
And then I don't remember any of the
Logan
details.
Seavey. Logan Seavey
Yep,
won the second night.
yep. But I did know that, but I think Corey Day got third the second night, and I'm trying to remember someone else. Oh,
Paul Floyd was up there.
yeah, but I think who was it? The sprint car guy, Macedo. I think he got second or third, right? Second maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I think Cole Floyd
Carson
got second.
Macedo.
Yeah, I think Cole Floyd got second. Um, yeah, maybe not. Anyway,
Shame
I
on me for not writing it down. I was too busy at work to be dilly dally and taking notes, right?
selling snow tires. Snow season is here. But I do have a takeaway from this past week. So I massively enjoy USAC National Midget Series. And I'm looking tonight. I'm looking at tonight's track. That's a little bull ring. Merced's a big quarter. It's almost a 3/8. Too big, right? I think if you get like to a mid-sized quarter, like a bigger quarter, that's almost too big for the midgets. Um, there's I've seen tracks out there that are 3/8 mile tracks trying to run midget racing. That
Yes,
don't
I've seen him
work.
at Eldora.
Yeah. That don't work. That's not a thing. Okay, midgets belong on small racetracks, 5th mile, small quarters, right? Little tiny bull rings, Chili Bowl. The dome would be good for them, right? That's where they belong. And I'm super excited. Ventura's small. That's a little turn and burn deal. That'll be fun. Of course, Chili Bowl coming up. But with that said, couple nights to go here. I guess we have our bold predictions to kind of make a prediction in realms to that. Kyle Larson not there tonight. He will be there on Saturday though. Tune in on Flow, definitely worth checking out. So how about a shout out here, Brad Parsons Soil and Ag Solutions. So Western Minnesota, North and South Dakota. If you're in the farming community, you can't control crop prices. However, you can control your yields by putting the right things in those spray packages. Why not give Brad a call? You might feel you already have a good spray package, good yields, but if you're in the racing community, the concept is we always try to get better. You're always trying to get better. So why not call Brad at 320-219-3542 to learn about all the stuff he has to put in those spray packages to see if you can improve on what might have already been good in 2025, but why not try to make it better in 2026? That's Brad Parsons, Soil and Ag Solutions. So the big thing coming up, Changa, without question, we got Thanksgiving this week. There's a couple USAC races, right? But we're a week out, right? I mean, we're literally about a week out from the most anticipated dirt race of of the year. I mean, the Gateway Dirt Nationals has turned into an absolute spectacle. I mean, the crowd is going to be, I mean, it's buzzing. People all jacked up and going. And I mean, I did see a thing on there. I think the Holiday Inn sold or whatever, and a whole bunch of people
I did see
maybe,
that.
yeah, maybe don't have
Lost their
hotel rooms. It's like, yeah,
reservations.
it's like, oh man, that would suck, right? But, what are a couple things that, we'll talk a little bit more about this, next week, right? But what are a couple things that you've seen online that, it's kind of like, all right, that seems kind of cool, seems kind of neat in anticipation of or unique or different in anticipation of the Gateway Dirt Nationals. Anything stick out to you?
I don't know if any. It's to me, it's, it's every year you're trying to one up last year, right? So I mean, the creativity of these guys with their bodies and their designs. I mean, Jeff Provenzino had some pictures of his car out there. That was really cool. And now it's the anticipation, sitting here twiddling my thumbs, waiting to start seeing the pictures rolling in. And I mean, this is an absolute heyday for your top teams and with their merchandise sales. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, they're buying new chassis and stuff off of their merch sales from these from this show. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting time.
100%. And fans, here's what I want you to do. Here's what we're going to ask you to do, right? In the comments below, first of all, like, share, jump over to YouTube, like, share, right? We want to make sure that you're following us here. But, as you're seeing some cool stuff, some cool graphic schemes or some unique stuff, share them in the comments below. Share them on here. We'd like to see them.
Who's your
We don't,
favorite? Share 'em.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So, Bravo's got a pretty badass looking car with the Godfather deal, the
Mhm.
whole Bravo Mafia. But a couple different things that stuck out. I mean, how many races have you seen to where there's an absolute planned after party, wet t-shirt contest, all that and it's become part of the event?
Well, I mean, it's not since we used to plan them in turn three at Cedar Lake, probably.
And that don't happen anymore, which is bullshit. We need to bring those back, right? But the Frisky Motorsports, right? I mean, they're selling tickets. They have an after party. I believe it's on Friday night down there. And I mean, it's kind of a who's who. Everybody goes. Gordy Gundaker's heavily involved, but I mean,
Weird.
there's a yeah, shocker. But there's a ton of people that are jacked up in anticipation of that. Another thing that's interesting this year that's different, Hoosier versus American Racer. So they did some testing. I know Nick Hoffman was involved with that. It'll be interesting to see how many drivers are on American Racers and how they perform at the Gateway Internationals this year in the modifieds and in the late model divisions. And then, up in our country, we're WISSOTA country, right? So we're always more interested in who's going down there, right, from WISSOTA country. And I do have a list in front of me. Do you have a list?
I don't, but I was actually waiting to hear that from you because I knew you
All right.
had.
Yep. So this is basically the WISSOTA centric cars or people that at least raced a good chunk of WISSOTA at some time in their career, right? So modifieds Thursday night, you're going to see Mullet Nation Ryan Gerke. He's a high side hustler. He's going to be fun to watch. Hopefully he keeps a deck tin on that thing in the spoiler, but he'll be ripping the lip in that 26 for sure. 4 cars on Friday though, 2 that are current WISSOTA, 2 that have raced WISSOTA. Okay, of
Yep.
course you got a former winner of the Gateway Dirt Nationals in the modified, the one TPO Tyler Peterson. You got A-Dub, Alex Williamson. He's ran some WISSOTA. His dad ran WISSOTA Superstocks back in the day. He won a 10,000 to win USMTS race a couple years back at Ogilvy. So Alex Williamson Friday night. Your WISSOTA modified national champ Blake Adams going to be ripping the lip on Friday, and then the winner of the 25,000 at the at Ogilvy at the well, we won't get a lot into that. Okay. The big race they had at Ogilvy, okay?
Yep.
But Aaron Johnson, the 442, has turned some heads this year. He's won a pile of races. He was very competitive down at Boone at the Super Nationals. I think it's going to be his first trip running a WISSOTA spec. I was wondering, is he going to have an IMCA motor in that car or WISSOTA motor? Bringing a WISSOTA spec down there. So keep an eye on Aaron Johnson. Four, I call them our guys Friday night. Late models, Thursday night. 6 drivers that I would say that are kind of our area drivers. The one TPO, Tyler Peterson, Dustin Sorensen, Michael Leach. Yes, I get it. He lives in Charlotte, but he's from Sun River, Montana, and he's a WISSOTA guy at heart. Nitro, James Giassi, Jeff Provenzino, and Layla Eisenshank. That is your Thursday night late model drivers. And then Friday night, looks like we have 5. Jake Tim, Dan Ebert, Amelia Eisenshank, James Trantina, and Parker Gilbertson. Of course, Parker, he ran just the end of the year, he ran a special. I think it was a topless at Ogilvy in a Wasota car. Young kid. His dad, Matt Gilbertson's won a pile of races. Parker Gilbertson won quite a few races this year in the Gen X late model. And I'm pretty excited to see if that kid can actually. I'm not going to say he's going to go win this deal, but I think he's got a pretty bright future ahead of him. It's going to be kind of fun to watch a second generation driver in the Gilbertson camp. So we did a draft here, Changa, and we're not quite done. We're picking 8 rounds. And let's talk about, for the Gateway Dirt Nationals, how we're looking so far, right? I think we're through 5 rounds. We have 3 rounds to go. I have Bert's here. He's not on the show, but I'll share Bert's. So Bert in round one picked Turbo. Round two, we picked Kyle Strickler in the mod. Round three, Rodney Sanders in the mod. Round four, Carlos Amata Jr. in the mod. And then round five, he took Joseph Joyner. What are your first 5 rounds right now for the draft?
So my first pick was Jordan Grabowski in the mod. My second pick was Tyler Peterson in the mod. Then I did Drake Troutman in the late model, Mike Marlar in a late model, Jimmy Owens in a late model.
Yeah, so you went kind of 3 late models in a row there. All right, so what pick? Any pick out of them 5 that you're feeling really, really good about?
My mod guys. My
Yeah,
mod guys. I feel good about both of them.
yeah, both are solid for sure. And of course, we want to cheer for TPO, right? I mean, he's a Wasota guy. We want him to win this
And
deal for sure.
part of it was that I knew that Governor Walz was going to want to take TPO, so I figured I better snag him in one class or the other.
You're not wrong. He would have definitely taken him for sure. So you sniped him for sure. All right. So my 5 picks, and I went mostly mod guys here. So I took Michael Ledford with my first pick, and Michael Long with my second pick. My third pick, I took the IMCA Boone Super Nationals winner, the 4TW of Tim Ward. And my fourth pick, I took a late model guy, right? And I get it. Over the last few years, hasn't been banging. He hasn't really been a world beater, but he's good here, and that is the low rider, Gordy Gundaker, right? He is. I mean, if you're basically running the show after the after party, I want you on my team. It just is what it is. I want you on my team. And then I took Zippy D Zane DeVilbiss in the modified with my 5th pick, and I believe I'm up next to take a pick. And
DeVilbiss, he had a sweet ride last
he
year.
did
I'm
that
excited to
Crown
see
Royal
what he's
car.
going to do. Yeah, it was the Crown and Coke or Crown.
Yep.
Yeah, that thing was really pretty. I can't wait to see what he does this year.
Exactly. All right. So yeah, let us know in the comments below who's looking good in this deal so far, right? Whose team has kind of got the nod. We got, basically we have 8 drivers, all 8 count, and it's points for heat or not heats, but features, B features, qualifiers, so on and so forth. So obviously it when he gets into the 6th and 7th and 8th round, it'll get interesting because we're going to be picking people. It's like, well, who's going to do better in the
There's
B,
still some
right?
big names there.
There's a few, but it gets a little dicier. There are 13 people in our group, so I want to shout out here to our friend Mac over at East Central Sports, right? So East Central Sports, located in Rush City, Minnesota, just north of the Twin Cities off I-35. They are your number one source for pit bikes, kids ATVs, Toro lawnmowers, golf carts, a whole lot more. And they got some pimping stuff. I mean, they have very, very cool kid shit over at East Central Sports. Let them know you heard about them on the One to Go show for $100 off your next purchase. You can reach Mac at 320-358-1994 or check them out online at www.eastcentralsports.com. So I'm looking at the TV, you're looking at the TV, and Changa, it is mind-boggling how close the highway is to turn number 2 at this racetrack. I
I
mean,
didn't. I haven't got the race on yet, so I didn't
yeah,
know it started yet.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. They're doing national anthem right now, but they're seeing people go by on the highway, like right next to the track.
Yeah,
I'm
we
like,
can
wow,
have
that's
cars on
crazy.
the highway.
Yeah, especially midgets for sure. So our pick'ems here, Governor actually won week 47, and He told me to tell you this, Tonga. Objects admire closer than they appear.
All
Okay,
right.
that's what
That's
he
why I
said to
stole
tell
his
you.
boyfriend.
Yeah, that's why he took his boyfriend, but he got him in the late model. So he won week 47, but our standings right now, I'm at 764. You are 27 points behind at 737. Now, this is our final pick'ems week of the year, and then we have the draft because there's essentially basically no racing left until we get to the beginning of the year. So you're 27 back. Governor's 17 behind you at 720, and then it's really tight for the next three spots. 708 for Rainman, 706 for Dano, 703 for Bert. Upers at 657, kind of in a spot by himself. Coach at 631 and Tardy at 629, only two behind Coach. Worker Bee 625, Man Bun Dan 617, Beefcake with a 15-point lead on Bromance right now. See if maybe they can battle to see who's going to get the Cellar Dweller Award for 2025. So what are we picking this week here? I know we're picking Bakersfield tonight. Do you have it in front of you? I do.
I do. I have it in front of me.
Okay. Okay.
So, USAC National Midgets, Bakerfield Speedway, Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway, Bakersfield, California, Tuesday night. Midget racing action coming at you in about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know who you took, but I took who did I say I took? Buddy Kofoid and
yeah.
Logan
I
Seavey.
took Stevie and Dave.
Okay.
And then we've got the 84th Turkey Night Grand Prix at Ventura Raceway in Ventura, California on Saturday, USAC Midgets. And then we're doing the Turkey 100 at Swainsboro Raceway, Swainsboro, Georgia. Saturday features for 604 and 602 crate late models along with the street stocks.
Yeah, we're really reaching on that one. I don't know that anyone will watch that. I mean, we'll look to see on my race pass who's going to be there. I think it's on Hunt the Front TV. I think that race is on. But I didn't want you whining that. Oh man, I mean, you didn't give me a chance to catch you at the end. I just,
I'm
and
still saying that December 28th, 29th, and 30th, there's freaking high limit sprint cars racing in, Australia. I think we should be picking that. It's this year.
well, I tell you what, I'm not opposed to it because
I mean, I
I'd
can
like to
promise
beat
you,
you. I'd like
if
to beat you
Governor
worse
thinks
than I'm
he's going
already
to
beating
catch
you.
me, he should probably want to pick it too, right?
So you can pose this question to the group. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Okay, pose it to the group. Ask everybody, do we want to pick that week in the racing as well? That particular event. If it's a majority that says yes, sure, don't care. So that's on you though. You got to
All right.
pose that to the
I
group.
think we should pick any Crown Vic race we can find for the rest of the year.
Bang bangers, yeah,
Yeah, right.
wheelbarrow races,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure, for sure. Nice, nice. All right, bold predictions.
It's
We
the
got a few
same
come off the board.
situation as last year, only I was like much closer to Curtis last year.
Yeah, I got a pretty healthy lead. Next year I'm gonna keep more accurate record and kind of break things down. We're still gonna have an overall champion, right? But Chongo is whining for those watching, kind of a tit
I'm gonna
baby here
pick
a little
I'm
bit.
gonna pick him's champion if there was no
He's
drafts.
he's, he's whining. He's whining, right?
I'm whining, I'm
It,
pissed.
yeah, that's like a Wasota guy saying, "Well, I would have won if they wouldn't have called it heat races. I would have won the
No, it's
points if
not.
they wouldn't have called it." Same thing, yeah. Yeah, I did. I won. I did better in features. I just sucked in heat races. Well, get better
That
at the
whole that whole
drafts.
that whole luck of the draw in the drafts when you pick fucking 13th every single draft is getting sickening.
I usually pick 13th. Actually, where did you pick this time?
I think we're
Right
like
next to me.
8-9 or 7-8 or something.
Right next to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
Literally one spot away. So hold on.
Like
I get the
one of
violin
one of
going. I
one
get
of
the
these
violin.
Eldora races, I'd like to pick JD or
I
Pierce,
get
right?
I get the violin going here
Wait, wait.
for you.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Yes. All right. So, but next year we're gonna break it down just because it'll be interesting to see because I'm a nerd that way, right? We'll have. I got it all laid out on the spreadsheet already each
Definitely
week.
in there.
Yeah, definitely a nerd for sure, right? Not nobody will
Amen, Torque,
disagree.
too.
But I'm gonna keep track of every single week. It'll be on a spreadsheet. and kind of see how we progress. So we'll have it separate, the pick'ems points and the draft points, and then the overall champion will be those two mixed together. So
I like
that
it.
yeah. So
I
that
think you
way
should. That should be your homework, anyways. Go back and figure that out for this year too.
yeah, I think I beat you by about 6 if it
I
was
think you're a
just the
lion
pick'ems.
fucker. You're
Yeah,
not. Yeah, I think I
yeah.
beat you by 16.
I probably would have beat you by more, actually. I probably would have beat you by more.
Oh yeah.
All right, bold predictions here. We had a few come off the board. Uper had 3 come off the board. He said Dason Pursley, Kyle Larson would be the only 2 drivers that won USAC national midget races. Well, first of all,
Well,
Kyle
Larson decided not
Larson
to
was
go.
not there, and Pursley did not win either night, so that was wrong. Then he said, and because his original
I love
prediction was
this.
going to
I
be
love this.
his his original prediction was going to be a non-World of Outlaw or Lucas regular would win the Carolina Clash race at Livonia.
Good
And
work on talking him out of that.
well, yeah, no kidding. There ain't going to be none there, right? And I was right. There wasn't any there. But he changed it and he said a World of Outlaw or Lucas regular would win the Carolina Clash. I
Oh, that's
literally
beautiful.
told him why it was such a bunt. There ain't none of them going to be going there for $5,000 to win. And he decides, well, okay, well, I'll make it a bold prediction. I'm like, holy shit, dude. All right, well,
Did they
that
get
was it.
one? Was Winger there?
I don't think so. I don't think Winger was there. No, nope. But he did get one right. He said there'd be a first-time winner at the Emil and Dale Rudeman Memorial at Volusia in the UMP Dirt Car Modifieds, and Drake Troutman was indeed a first-time winner. Tonga, you had 2 come off the board. You said there would be a new point leader after this week in USAC midgets, and that did not happen. And then the second one here, I just got to read what the statistician sent. Pussy Chonga flipped Uper's prediction because he can't think for himself. Okay, so I had to do some digging. I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. Essentially, you said that Pursley and Larson, neither one of them would win a race this weekend, and you were correct. You got that one right. I know what he's mad about. I know what he's mad about. I had 2 come off the board as well. I said these 3 drivers, Logan Seavey, Dason Pursley, Kyle Larson, would each get at least 1 podium. Tough to do if the
You're not
driver's
there,
not there. That was
right?
bad research on my part. And I did say this Rudeman Memorial, Kyle Strickler, Ethan Dotson would both finish in the top 5, and they did. So we keep track of correct predictions and
You're the new
correct.
leader.
We're all tied.
Oh,
We're all
really?
tied.
So,
We're still tied. So correct percentage and correct, right?
yeah.
So Bert's on hiatus until next year. He goes, I threw in the white towel. I'm out of reach on everything. It is what it is. I'm gonna start fresh for next year. Okay, so he's at 21. But
He should be making picks for next year then, just to get a
he
jump start.
should. He should. Yeah. You and Uper are tied at 34. We are tied at 34. Correct percentage. I'm at 41%. Chonga's at 40%. Uper at 37.4, and Bert at 31.8. And that was it. There's no more predictions. We're done for the year. I win. Both.
I
All right. We'll carry this.
have
This
it
one.
on the agenda that we're doing it.
Yeah, this one carries on all the way to whatever the last show is for the year. We will take some weeks off at the end of the year. Those weeks will be filled in with postseason power rankings, and we're going to interview some people too, maybe some former drivers in the respective classes. We're going to get on with us, so we'll have some content, and then there'll be if there's anything crazy that happens, we'll do an emergency pod if we have to. So yeah, 3-way, it's close, man. 3-way tie for the lead in correct predictions, and literally you and I 1% apart on the percentages. Uper right there too. I mean, he's close. So anyone's game here was just over a month to go. So let's wrap this thing up here. 3 bold predictions from each of us, and I mean you're gonna make them too, so they're not all bold.
Oh, get
Um,
real. Jeff's been bunting for like 2 months to catch up to me,
Yeah, and it ain't working for him. It's not
and
working.
you have too.
Don't hate the player, hate the
You got,
game.
yeah, I'm going last this time.
All right, all right,
I've never gone last before.
that's fine. I'll go Uper. I'll go me, and then you can go last. So Uper's first prediction is this. USAC National Midget. Heat number one, by the way. Carter Sarf, Setzer, Andriotti, Justin Grant, fourth.
Oh,
Carson Macedo, seventh.
yikes.
Yep. So Carter Sarf, your winner. Okay. USAC National Midgets. Justin Grant will get at least one win in these two races, and both nights will be on the podium. Now, clearly, both races have to happen for this to count. Tonight's going to get in. Saturday has to get in too. So Justin Grant, at least one win, and both nights on the podium. I am going to go. I'm going to go to Ventura for the turkey. What is it called here? The turkey, not the turkey bowl.
Let me look again.
Turkey night Grand Prix, right? Turkey
It's
night
the
Grand Prix.
84th Turkey Night Grand Prix, yes.
84th Turkey Night Grand Prix. All right, I'm gonna go. These three drivers will all be in the top five, and one of these three drivers will be the winner. Okay, Kyle Larson, Buddy Kofoid, and Logan Seavey. So
You might as well say, yeah, there will be a winner.
yeah, Kyle, there's going to be like 60 of these things. This is the biggest race of the year for them. So Kyle Larson, Logan Seavey, Buddy Kofoid, all three in the top five, and
All
one.
three in the top five, and one of them wins. Okay, I like that.
Yep,
I'm good with
yep,
that.
yep. All three
I
in the
might just
top
go the
five, one
opposite of
wins.
that just to mess with you.
All
I did it
right.
to Beth. Might as well do it to you.
Yes.
All right. So my pick, huh?
Yep.
So you spoke about our list for the dome of all of the guys with local ties.
Yes.
Okay. All of the guys you mentioned,
And gals.
guys and gals, thank you. Out of all, and TPO counts twice because he's racing two cars.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he counts as a gal too, and I was going to be like, "That's bullshit. That's blasphemy right there." I didn't know where you were going with that. All right.
Yeah, no. I mean, governor might wish that was the case, but no. um, I'm gonna say, God, and I got to make this somewhat bold. Um, I'll go out of all of them names. The Saturday night big show, there will be four or less of them will make the main event on Saturday.
Four or less will make the show.
Yes.
Really?
Is that not bold or no?
Not particularly.
I mean, TPO could be two of them. He
Yeah.
counts as two. I mean, Jake, Tim, and Dan Ebert are studs.
And Sorensen,
Yeah, I
TPO,
forgot about
Giassi.
those.
Hmm. Boy, four or less make the show. That's I think the most Wissota area cars that ever made shows on a given night's been three.
Well, there
So
you
that's
go. There's probably more of them here this year. We got the Wissota Modified National Champion in the house, the Wissota Late Model National Champion in the house.
Are you bold enough to throw in the USMTS cars with that or not really?
No.
Four or less, huh? All right. Four or less it is. All right. All right. Fair enough. Trying to bunt here. I got what I see what you're doing.
I'm not punting. There's a
Youpers,
lot of cars there.
God. I mean, the or less. I mean, if you go four or more, but four or less, I mean, there's a real legitimate chance that only one or two makes it. So, I mean,
there's a legitimate chance 8 make it.
oh, I don't know what legitimate chance, but I mean, anything is possible, I suppose.
Right, let's go.
All right, Uper.
Uper.
Uper's second one. Jeff Provenzino's Mafia car will win the best appearing car contest at the Dome in the late models.
I like that. That's a good pick.
Yep, I like it too. All right, I'm going to go to the Dome. I'm going to go to the Dome.
Where else is there to go?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm going to say this. I'm going to do a little bit of a I'm going to do a two-legged parlay here, okay? One of between you and I, between Ryan and Changa. Okay, so I'm gonna write this down. Ryan versus Changa.
Okay.
I will have a out of the cars that we drafted, I will have a higher finishing mod driver. Okay,
Okay.
higher finishing mod,
I gotta pick some more mods. I only got two, and you got like freaking four.
and I will beat you in the draft.
All right. That's a bunt. I don't think I've ever been in the top 10 in a draft.
So Ryan versus Changa. Um,
Oh, frickin'. He calls mine a bunt. What the?
Ryan, yeah, I will have a higher finishing mod driver on Saturday in the A main than what you do, and I will beat you in the draft.
Will you
There you go.
also, are you bold enough to say you'll also have a higher finishing late model driver and modified driver?
No, because I only have one late model driver on my team, so I don't
Oh,
have
so
that. And
scary.
it's I am. Who do you have so far? You have well, no, you have three. You have Troutman, Marlar, Jimmy Owens.
Yeah,
I only
that's a nobody.
I'm not that confident in G squared. I'm just not.
Either. He's gonna
Yeah.
be so freaking drunk. He's probably gonna skip the race and go right to the
He
bar.
might do better when he's drunk, right? He might do better. He might be better. Yep, maybe gummies or whatever. Yep.
Oh God.
What's your second one here?
Okay. For the 3 days of the dome, there will be one or more rollovers.
No. Give me a real number and we can do it.
And you know there is they keep track of that, don't they?
Yeah.
And I just don't. I don't have a feel for what the typical where they usually
Now,
are at.
now, I mean, they don't roll over
Would
like midgets, right? I mean, it's
no, but
totally
they do flop over on their side or on their roof. I
right.
mean, God, I don't know. Maybe I should skip that because I don't know if they're going to track that, and I'm certainly not going to track it.
Well, I'm gonna watch every race. You'll watch every race. Pretty much
I
everybody in
won't.
our group will watch every race.
Um, let's hold off on that for now. What was your first one again? I was going to go against that.
I don't remember.
It was
Well,
Kyle
okay.
Larson,
My
Logan
my
Seavey,
my first
and
one
Buddy
was Larson.
Kofoid.
Yep. All three in the
All
top
hit in the
five,
top five.
and at least and one of them three will be the winner.
Is it bold enough if I say that won't happen? Or are you
No.
going to call bullshit on that?
I
Okay.
mean, it's bold enough if you
Okay.
say Larson, Seavey,
So,
Kofoid don't finish in the top five, and
yeah,
meaning
it
none of
sure
them
is.
win.
Um, okay. What was Upers? I need to go opposite of him then. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. I'm going to go. I'll do that dome thing. Would 10 or more rollovers be legit?
A lot,
Is it?
but yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You
I
know,
mean,
10.
by rollover, it's either. I mean, if they go on their side, I'm counting it.
Tip if you're doing 10, we'll count it. Yeah, if they tip on their side, we'll count it if you're doing 10.
Or what if they go over the wall and land on their wheels? Do we count that?
If they go over the wall, we can count that
Okay. So I'll word it 10 or
for
more
10.
rollovers slash over the wall.
Yeah. And
Okay.
not just up on the wall. They got to go
Yeah.
clear the wall and be on the other side off the wall. Okay. Okay.
What if the back bumper is still on it?
If they're mostly on the ground on the other side, we'll count it.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Uper's third prediction: Chonga's inability to have an original thought or idea of his own will cost him the 2025 Pick'em's crown for the most correct.
Your thoughts?
Basically, he's saying that you will not win the most correct for the our pick for our bold
Yeah.
predictions.
Well, yeah. Just keep going. That's not even worth reacting to.
My third and final prediction here. I am gonna go. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with that Wasota cars and former Wasota drivers. I'm gonna do a combination versus. Okay, so we got some Wasota guys versus some national talent. Okay, Wasota drivers versus national talent. So the Wasota drivers would be TPO in the mod, TPO in the late, Blake in the mod, and G.O.A.T in the late. Okay,
Okay.
versus Sorensen in the late model, Tim in the late model, Ebert in the late model, and who else we got here?
You better find someone actually good, or that's a bunt.
Alex Williamson in the mod. Okay,
Group
I'm gonna
one
go.
will have a higher finish.
Essentially, this is going to be Wasota versus national touring drivers. Okay, because TPO, Blake, and Giassi are all Wasota drivers. Sorensen, Tim, Ebert, Alex Williamson are all national touring because USMTS is a national touring
Oh,
series.
I hear you.
Okay,
I get it.
the Wasota drivers in that group will have a better combined finishing position on Saturday than those four national touring drivers. So
I like
TPO
that.
mod,
I like
TPO
that.
mod late, Blake Adams, Giassi, better average, better combined finishing position than Dustin Sorensen, Jake Tim, Dan Ebert, Alex Williamson.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, I like that. That's good. Is it my turn
Thank you.
or is it
Yeah,
you
yeah.
first?
Third and final one. Third and final one.
So just to go back to my last one, the 10 or more rollovers, that's all of the nights counted, all
Yeah,
the races.
yeah. That's a total event. Yep.
Um, I'm gonna go, and I think this is pretty bold because freaking that Youper, he's pretty tough and he's really smart and he's good at this, right? So I'm gonna make a bold prediction that it's a two-part deal. Number one, Youper will not finish in the top five of our year-long Pick'ems contest.
Well, he really
and
can't. He
and
can't. But
and he will not finish in the top five of our draft for this dome.
okay, okay, okay. Yep. That I like it. So Uper's not going to finish top five in the pick'ems, which is a given. Um, but he will also not finish top five in the draft for the Gateway Dirt Nationals. All right. Well, there we have it. Heat races on the track right now, USAC National Midgets. So, with that said, just want to wish everybody one more time happy Thanksgiving. And yeah, not a lot of racing left, but man, the off season short. The off season is so short. I mean, they literally second week of January, they're already right back into the Wild West Shootout. The week after, roll right into the Chili Bowl, and then you're already into the what is it, the Sunshine Nationals in
So
Volusia, and
is there some overlap of the Wild West Shootout and the Chili Bowl this year?
ah,
Have you
I
looked into that at
think
all? I think
I
there might be some
think that
overlap there.
I think the Chili Bowl is the week after, but
Okay, yes.
I
Something
think that
tells me there might be some overlap, and I could be wrong on that.
yeah, I think the Wild West Shootout concludes, and then it goes into the Chili Bowl that following week. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure is how that works. So, and then yeah, like you said, message the group. This is on you. If you want to have more picks all the way through that 3 day swing for the high limit race down in Australia, if you get the group, I will bow out. It's 13. I'll be the tiebreaker if it's needed, right? But because I'm leading, I don't care. I'm either going to beat you or I'm going to beat you by more. It don't matter.
Oh fuck. Uh,
And knowing you, you're gonna pick the same guys I do anyway. So for sure
well,
don't.
it's weird that I have to send the pics to you and then you send your
Uh
pics to me with the same guys on it.
yeah, yeah,
Weird how that
yeah.
happens. It
I
never
actually
used to work that way. Hey, it didn't work that way when I was ahead of you.
I gave you an opportunity to cheat. I actually sent you my picks,
Yeah, but see,
and
here's
I'm
the
like,
difference. You were dishonest and I was not. I don't cheat.
well, if I was dishonest, I sucked at it because I didn't
Okay,
catch
so I'm
you.
gonna ask you this: you ever been caught cheating?
No,
Liar. Okay, has Changa ever been caught cheating?
no.
All right, there you go.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
Jody Belfi Senior caught you.
Stone Cold Jim told you so.
Nice. All right. Well, again, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for tuning in to the One to Go show.